if you're hearing this for the first time, we appreciate you listening, and please subscribe to this channel so this gets out to more folks wherever they're living. We have people that listen, obviously, in the US, but in Canada, and even in places like India and Australia. I don't know how that gets out to them, but God bless them too. We appreciate them listening. So again, if you're listening to us on YouTube, subscribe, Spotify, Amazon, whatever it may be. Please get this out to as many people as possible. These are important interviews. Today, we are going to be talking about many different things, but we're having on Brenda Miller. She has written The Kid Code, so we're going to talk about that, but she's also written quite a few other books. So we're going to be talking about, like I said, quite a few other different things, conflict resolution, about parenting in general, and basically how you get through real life as an adult with children. But Brenda, thanks so much for coming on to speak about this important topic today. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me, Rob. I love the work you're doing because to help parents, you know that old saying, it may take a community to raise a child, but it also takes a community to support parents.
I agree 100%, especially right now with conflict all over the country, all over the world in general, and also the supply chain, gas, food prices are extremely high, everything in the kitchen sink, but we'll get to that later. So Brenda, can you tell people a little bit about you in general and how you got started rather in this type of work?
Well, yes, I had quite a journey, I must say, Rob. So I spent some of my formative years hiding in a cupboard from people who could do no differently than they did. I also noticed as a young adult, I lost my belly laugh and I wanted to get it back. So I observed kids. I was very stressed out, of course, from my early years, but I noticed, I wonder if I could get my belly laugh back. And then as I began to watch kids, I made just an amazing discovery, which was, you know how they're so inclusive. If you sit down to play with them in a sandbox, they don't care about your skin color or your accent. They don't care about anything. And I realized, wow, that's their nature, creative, inclusive, playful. But what really surprised me was that was our nature too. And our nature is not gone. It's just forgotten. It's sort of like the forgotten whisper of well-being. And how can we get that back for all of our parents has been my work. But what really got me into this was that while I was teaching conflict resolution in the 6 countries I taught it in, early on in that experience, I had a personal experience where someone I love attempted suicide twice, once in front of me. I know how hard that is to hear for people. It really tugs at the heartstrings. It's also very disturbing. But I want to share this with you because it's integral to my work. And that is because in the moment that when we were in the hospital and he was being sewn up, both wrists to elbows, everything that was unimportant in me fell away. And I realized and rediscovered my own nature, what was natural to me. And I noticed that I could only speak to him from a place of pure love. He got to experience in that situation unconditional love, and so did I. That changed our lives. So I went out into the world realizing, I wonder if with a little mental elbow grease and some willingness, if any upset, even small, like the kids drop their cereal or the kids don't do must-dos, anything like that, all the way up to these big traumas, could we transform an upset? So that is my expertise. And what I did, because I know parents have 2 really big problems. One is no time, and the other is they don't have strategies that really work instantly for the long term. And so I designed or found 100 ways to get right now relief in an upset with your kids. And it's really simple to dissolve kid chaos. But what I really wanted to do was do it in 30 seconds because stress is no good for us. I mean, our modern day tigers that chase us would be like running away from a bus. Stress may be useful there. It's not useful in any other circumstance. It's damaging relationships. It fractures them. It's toxic to our bodies. You can Google that. Most people know it. And we're never clear. And you know, one really thing important about stress is that the moment stress hits, for me anyway, and most people that I work with, we lose our common sense. So I couldn't find a good reason for stress to be any part of my life anymore. And you know, Rob, one day I bought a golf counter. You know, one of those things you click to keep track of every swing. Well, I'm not a golfer, but I bought that So I could count the number of times I was stressed out in a day. And by noon, I'd clicked it so many times, I threw it away.
Wow.
So I had a lot of motivation, being a very stressed out person, to find these ways. So I make this bold, outrageous statement that stress is optional and you can dissolve it in 30 seconds. And I love to help you and your listeners prove that to themselves with the strategies that I've created.
What mistakes do parents make that you see personally when dealing with all these different people from all over the globe that you see? What mistakes are they making with their kids?
Well, first of all, the first mistake they make is they're too hard on themselves. The parents
Okay.
are. That's the first thing. The second thing is that with kids, we are too controlling versus guiding. And what I mean when I say that is there's anything from guidance all the way up to punishment when you're dealing with the child. And if you punish a child, you just check and see if this is true for you. It's not good for you. It also doesn't do what we want long term, because we learned that punishing should make somebody change their behavior for the better. Therefore, it means if you use lateral logic that I'm a good person if I punish you because that'll make you better.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see the lateral logic, it doesn't work, and it doesn't create connection. And once you create connection with a child, with anybody in your business, with your partner, with your children, they will do anything for you. So yeah, that's how to not be hard on yourself is, I would share this one strategy right now, which is when you make a parenting mistake, you're going to make many of them. Hollering, criticizing, judging, all of those things, they don't feel good to you as a parent. So as soon as you make that mistake, you say, I matter more than this mistake. Why? Because it's true. So if you say and feel the truth of that statement, you release the stress and now you make the mistake right.
And thank you for that information. Again, for people that are listening, this is Brenda Miller, and she wrote The Kid Code along with many other books, and we're going to go into that in a minute. I want to talk about the Kid Code, and then we'll go into the strategies. So, Brenda, can you tell the viewers a little bit about the Kid Code in general and why you wanted to write that book?
Because parenting pain, this is a place where you're allowed to be a mess as a parent. With my book and my work and with the Kid Code, where I founded that, and we have about 11 teachers, some still in training, because you are allowed to be a mess as a parent. And at the same time, excuse me, accept this warm-hearted invitation to leave parenting pain behind. So there's 100 strategies in this book. Then there's a book called Blessing Mistakes. And I have to tell you, Rob, one day I was driving my dad's too big truck in his too small corral, and I put a dent in it. And when I told him, he held his arms wide open to me to walk into for a hug. And he said, it doesn't matter a particle. And that was the day where I learned how to give myself and others grace when a mistake is made. And then, because there is magic in that message, you matter more than the mistake. So if you can imagine Rob saying to a kid who spills their cereal or forgets to take the trash out or doesn't hand in an assignment on time, and they feel miserable when they do it, or they feel defensive, either way, you say to them, you matter more than this mistake. It dissolves all the stress and it creates connection. And now part 2, of course, is making the mistake right. Why? Because if we check inside of ourselves, and we'll notice if I make a mistake and I don't make it right, I feel awful. If I defend it or justify it or hide it, I feel awful. If I just make it right, I feel okay. And that's the whole thing, is our well-being. Same for our kids. So that's the 100 strategies. And then the Blessing Mistakes has its own book. And then there's Bully Proof Yourself and Your Kids, that just came out last week. And that's a little book of peaceful power, how to meet and defeat a bully, sometimes without ever speaking to them. And Rob, here's why I love that book, because most of the anti-bullying organizations have very good strategies, but the Youth Project studied how many kids? 12,000 kids. And they found that, for example, the traditional stop, you say that to a bully, 40 something percent of the time, that makes the bullying worse. And I realized through my conscious conflict resolution work that we had to get the target off of our back. And the way to do that is ask 6 or 8 really pretty simple questions. Here's an example. If you're being bullied, like I wondered, why is he bullying me, not somebody else? So I asked a simple question: what am I giving him that I shouldn't give him. And it came very quickly, power. That meant I was acting submissively, thinking that that would make him kind. He wouldn't hurt me if I was submissive. As soon as I saw that, that idea started dissolving in me, and I started more standing up for myself. He eventually just disappeared out of my life as I did my own strategies. And so that's become a book, and I'm very excited about that one because that can really help lots of people. And
Right.
the next book, the next book is Tusky's Travels. It's in Hollywood being written for the screen right now, and it's also at the publishers. And that's 15 bedtime or anytime stories for parents and their kids. And the purpose is to teach kids to either stay in their nature when a challenge arises or come back to it if they can't stay in their nature at that time. So they travel around the world and they discover something wonderful about their inner selves, about their strengths, about their, they learn the blessing mistakes, and they learn natural consequences. They learn how to tame their tantrums in all these countries. Yeah, so the next book is Grumpy to Grateful. That one will be out probably in a few months. And that's Grow Your Gray Matter, because, there's gratitude is such a wonderful feeling inside. And so this teaches you how to do that. And I'm co-authoring that with a man named Gopi Nair, and he is a gratitude practitioner. And my last book that I'm working on right now is called You're Not Bad. I'm so excited about this one, Rob, because when you have a bad thought about someone else, you think you're bad. So I'm speaking to your listeners now. And you wish ill upon someone else, you think you're a bad person. No, those thoughts, in this book, I explain where they come from, how you can dissolve them really quickly and get back to your nature, which is very similar to a child's, only wiser because you have life's experiences behind you.
I want to talk about this. Can you talk about some of those 100 strategies? Obviously, we're not going to be able to hit all of them, but maybe like about 5 to 10 of them would be great. Some of the ones that you think are really good for people to know that are listening.
Oh, I would just love to, Rob. Thank you. So one of the ones is called natural consequences. So if I go out into the rain and I don't have an umbrella, that's my action. The natural consequence is I get wet.
Right.
If a child doesn't hand in an assignment, what are all the honest consequences? Remove the emotions and just sit down and make a list. What are the consequences? Well, it's true that they get a bit more free time doing whatever they were doing instead of working on the assignment. It's also true that while they'll have more free time, they're going to cause upsets with parents and teachers. And it's also true that they'll feel stressed because of it. Yeah. So there always are consequences attached to any action we take, as I described with going out in the rain without an umbrella. So if you sit down as a family and make the consequence list of the usual things, like don't take out the trash, don't hand in an assignment, don't do the must-dos. What are the natural consequences? Everybody starts understanding, wow, I'm upsetting everybody by doing what I'm doing. And then you decide, what privileges do you lose because you cause this upset? So I really recommend that every family do make the list. And I just forgot to tell you about blessing mistakes too, Rob. Put signs in your house, parents, that say, for love's sake, bless the mistake. Don't cause a fight, make it right. Give them a break, bless the mistake. So when you do that, when you put up little Post-it notes, this helps you remember right away what to do when a mistake happens. And also, during any mistake a kid makes, like if they don't take out the garbage, they've made a mistake. It's okay to say, you matter more than the mistake, and now it's time to make it right. And then look at the natural consequences. If you don't do it, what happens? Everyone feels stressed. If you do it, what happens? You grumble a little bit because you don't want to do it, et cetera, et cetera. But it's just a really honest assessment of what's going on. The next one is taming tantrums. I love this one too, because, if you're an adult, this is what I do. I noticed I did an in-depth study of my own temper. I watched every time I got angry. And I noticed as soon as I got angry, I would start thinking like a dunce, then I would speak like a dunce, and then I would act like a dunce. So I made myself a dunce hat. And if I get angry, I run and put it on. Now, when I'm out, I can't put it on. But you get my drift here, that if you watch people, so get in your mind's eye a picture of someone who's angry. So notice that they're thinking they're coming from a place of mental superiority, when in fact they're coming from a place of mental inferiority. Nobody who's angry is intelligent. And notice that's us when we're angry. Anger just does not serve. And it's become a durable behavior to get what we want, only it doesn't really get us what we want, because it doesn't get us connected. It causes us stress. So here's another strategy. If you don't have a dunce hat, or you don't like that strategy, or you can just imagine putting a dunce hat on. I like it because it reminds me the ridiculousness of me having to put a dunce cap on my head dissolves the anger. Next one is, a Canadian teacher teaches this one, Rob. It's put a note in your pocket that says, I don't need my raging story anymore. Pull it out every single time you feel anger and read it. What this does, it not only opens the door to the truth. I don't need my angry story, actually, that's just the truth. But it also is an invitation to check the anger. It's like checkmate to the anger. Because you soon start to see, wow, I'm in a state I don't even need and makes no sense. If you're at home, if you're a mom and your child has gotten on your last two nerves, tell them you need a moment. This comes from Susie Lula, a wonderful self-care expert. She says, every time, say you need a moment. And then I add on to this, after you decide you need a moment, I suggest you do something like go put your head between your clothes in your closet. Why? Again, the ridiculousness of doing that will dissolve your anger. A really advanced human being can go to the bathroom, put the toilet seat down, sit there, and let the anger process itself right out of them. Consciously watch it move out of them. This robs it of its power. And you know, if a kid's having one, you know how you're in a store and you know, oh no, my child is about to melt down. Well, you can't put a lid on lava. So the best thing to do is don't engage in it. So what we tell our parents is, for moms, do Kegels. Anybody recite baseball stats, use breathing, silently sing a song that you like. Why? Because one crazy person in the room is enough. If you entangle, you know how easy it is to get upset in a hurry. And for the kid, if you can catch them in time, you can say things like, blow off your socks. Do it, blow off your socks. And you know, the kid will, you direct them and divert them, and they sometimes stops the tantrum, not always. Right. Once the tantrum's over, if you are unable to prevent it, you tell the child, you know, it's understandable that you would feel like that, believing what you're believing. And I love you, and I'm not crazy about the tantrum because it's not good for you. Yeah. This is all about self-regulation, Rob, and the only person who can do it is us. That's why it's so important to give our kids, give ourselves first this information, and then use it, see that it works, and then teach our kids these things. And you know, there's one called blowout prevention. And in a grocery store, if you get your child involved in storytelling as soon as you walk in the store, so you've established your requirements for the store, knowing that they may not be met, you know, like we're not buying candy today, or we're not buying treats or surprises or anything like that. And then you take with you things that you're allowed to take in that are comforting to the kids, and then you engage them as soon as you get in the store with stories. And you let them help with the story. So for example, if you get to the milk cooler, you tell the child the story about the farmer who's milking the cow and the cat who's sitting there hoping for a stream of milk. And you get the child to name the farmer, the cat, and the cow. And then you make that story go on and on and on. And there's many different strategies we offer for blowout prevention. So having established that there's no good reason to have upsets and fights, we're still going to have them. So one of the things that works really well, now I'll talk a little bit about older kids, is, you know, there's two lives being lived. Rumi said that. There's my life and my child's life. That awareness is really good for us, because we don't know when to stop guiding them and when to let them take more control of their own lives. So we get into fights about that. And one of my very favorite statements to use with children, which I've done for a long time, is, how can we make this work for both of us? That takes a lot of stress out of the conversation immediately. That's another one of Susie Lula's the self-care expert statements. So one of the strategies I'd like to share is a little bit more difficult to understand and 100% guaranteed to make you into a sane human being and dissolve what I call the false nature in a human being. So if you see a behavior in your child or anyone else, one way to dissolve the stress you feel when you see that in another person is just get quiet and go inside and ask, now, where have I been that? We have been all behaviors. And if we don't believe that, we can ask our partners, colleagues, kids. You can even ask the grocery store clerk if you like. Somebody will tell you, extended family, mother-in-law, father-in-law, someone will guarantee that you have behaved in the way that you're describing the other as having been behaved that's bothering you. In that moment, well, I suggest just skipping the have I been like that and just close your eyes and say, please show myself where I've been that. Once you see it, you no longer be it. You're dissolving in yourself and you're taking the attention away from the other person so that you can see why you have an upset inside of you. I love this one so much. I do this with anybody from age 4 to 94, and it dissolves the tension immediately. In fact, in our family, this is our go-to. As soon as one kid says, "You're mean," the whole family stops. Everyone closes their eyes and looks to see where they've been mean. Immediately the energy and the tension is gone, and everyone says, yeah, I was mean there and there and there, and it felt awful. And then we get back to playing. It's a beautiful strategy, and it takes a little bit of time. You can get help from our teachers on our website, really, that you can take a $25 course in the time it takes to have a coffee break and learn how to do these strategies. So I highly recommend that. And we have programs coming out, parenting programs also, so you can take a whole program, but it's all about what we care about is your well-being.
Can you tell people that are listening to the program today what you hope they'll learn and take away from this interview?
I hope that you will be kinder to yourself, because you can't do it any differently as I can't do what I've done differently until I've been given new information and see that it really works well. And if it's towards well-being, it works. So use one of the strategies, use the blessing mistakes by saying you matter more than the mistake, and feel the truth of the statement. The stress dissolves around the mistake. So use that one, or use the temper tantrums, use the natural consequence, use any one, just one of those. Use it for a week and see the difference in how you feel inside. Because then when you're calm and coherent, you're able to handle much more, and you're also able to pass these remarkable ways of being in the world to your kids. And also remember, you bless your own mistakes as a parent. You are a good human being. So you make sure you remember that and remind yourself, yes, I've just made a mistake and I matter more than that, and now I'll make it right.
Really great advice for people that are listening. And I do appreciate your time today, Brenda. And if people want to find out more about Brenda, if you do go to this website, and I will give it right now, it is thekidcode.ca. Again, thekidcode.ca. You can find more about Brenda's books, and there's much more as far as insight and other resources on there that you can really look into.
Sounds so great. Thank you, Rob.